We are very happy to hear next Clare Farrell, who is one of the co-founders of Extinction Rebellion, which is a ecological movement. It's of civil disobedience, direct action, which has spread worldwide very fast after 2018 when it was established. It's reacting to climate emergency. And basically it's saying that there's a mass extinction if we don't act now. And they have a 3-step program we will hear more about. It is at least in the panel, but we'll give a word now to Clare Farrell, who will talk about the strategies Extinction Rebellion has chosen in this state the whole planet is facing.
Hi everyone, my name's Claire and I'm from Extinction Rebellion. I'm gonna just say a few things about how we got started and some of the thinking behind the strategy. So from the creative perspective, I was part of the founding membership, and we formed a design team, I guess, like an art department together, a bunch of us. And one of the key things about setting that up was the idea of creating an identity, but also giving it away for free very quickly, which obviously kind of flies in the face of the majority of work that people might do in branding, communications, and stuff like that. We knew that we wanted to make something that was angry and peaceful. We knew that we wanted to try to make something that was inclusive as possible. So we tried not to be, for example, aligned with a single color, aligned with a whole color palette that would hopefully allow engagement from many places. We also knew that the identity had to be deeply connected to a sense of grief, to a sense of the idea that compassion is the most rational response to the situation that we find ourselves in terms of ecological breakdown and potential societal collapse, because we are tasking ourselves with looking at the worst possible outcomes, and examining the fat tail risks, and examining the scientific reticence, examining the possibility that things might be worse than we think, which I don't know about you, but I repeatedly feel when I receive a new paper, like I did just the other week with that Frontiers paper, that things are worse than most people think. And then what else did we mix in with there, I guess, is momentum-driven organizing. So the ideas that help people to rapidly mobilize, we felt like we needed it to feel like an emergency mobilization. One of the key pieces of design, I guess, in a way, is the talk. And I think a lot of people don't know necessarily from the outside that Extinction Rebellion has mainly been organized through very conventional means. It's not something which emerged from something online. It's something which was very, very intentionally constructed around quite old-fashioned methods of mobilizing. One of the main key tools was a talk called Heading for Extinction and What to Do About It. First of all, I think the paradox in the name is helpful, because the kind of people who show up to a talk called Heading for Extinction and What to Do About That, I suspect a certain type of person who's able to engage with that kind of paradox. But within the talk, we covered the science and the question of the risks, and we introduced thinking around biodiversity loss, which often at the time felt quite separate to climate. And at the end of the talk, we suggested that maybe route that we might take would be to undertake mass participation, civil disobedience, with a commitment to non-violence. And at the end, we sent round these pieces of paper to ask people to tick a box if they wanted to get involved. And the options were that you could either help get involved, you could offer to face arrest, or you might tick a box which said you would be willing to risk a potential jail sentence for the work. I guess another thing about the work in terms of the design and the strategy is about creating dilemma. So a lot of our original work before XR, as many people as part of a network in the UK, was looking at direct action and non-violent direct action, but also especially looking at how to create dilemma. So in my opinion, when you open a dilemma space through non-violent work, you open a space which didn't exist before you undertook the act. And in addition to that, we were focused on making these things replicable. So trying to design stuff which people could pick up and do themselves with low barrier to entry. You don't need loads of special skills. You don't need tons of money, hopefully, like, you know, something that makes it easy for people to do. And I guess importantly as well, taking this work into an urban space. So not thinking about direct action as always having to be something which puts the sand in the gears of industry or of politics, but also of a way of like sort of symbolically showing non-violence in mass numbers in urban spaces, particularly in cities where you know that the media are, where you know that there are key decision makers, where there's business, where there's politicians, where there's civil servants. And so we were very focused on an urban space, I would say in a strategic sense. And this sense of like replicable civil disobedience has, and I'm quite surprised by how much it has, you know, rippled out around the world, and many people have picked up the things that we did originally in the UK and taken them and performed these kinds of similar acts in other countries. And now Extinction Rebellion has a presence in over 70 countries around the world. We also, I guess, importantly felt like it needed to be about emotion, and we wanted to mainstream the culture around feeling emotion around climate and around biodiversity loss, because we know that we're living through a heartbreaking situation. I mean, I don't know if there is any precedent, really. I don't think there is, for the situation that we're in currently, the scale of the threat, the existential nature of it, and the fact that some aspects of it are also exponential, right? So the only thing that you have to do for this to get worse is to not do anything. And I don't know if there are that many other similar social contexts or environmental contexts that people have acted against in the past. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'll speak to you in a sec on the panel.
Thanks a lot, it's Claire, for your contribution.